Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I'm literally filming these videos back to back, but I'm awake now. So if you watched my video yesterday on Sunday, I was kind of like, I kind of woke up throughout the course of the video. I'm sitting here and I'm drinking my coffee and I'm spending the weekend in Phoenix, Arizona with my good Judy Mel, who is my book club partner, and we've just been hanging out and having so much fun. And so I wanted to film some Peterisms video, so here I am. And I read from Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff in my last video, and I'm gonna do another one right now because I brought this book out here with me to read from them. But like, it was so funny because like as I was filming the video, like at the beginning of it, I was like, I'm like still half asleep almost. And then like I got to like halfway through the video and I was like, I just woke up. Like, I don't know what happened, but I just woke up, you know what I mean? So anyway, we're gonna go and get some coffee here in a little bit at Starbucks. We're gonna maybe do a Starbucks review if they have what we're looking for. And then we're gonna do some other stuff, and then we're just gonna, the last video was about being bored. And we're gonna just kind of like hang around here and just talk and be bored. We're gonna practice being bored today. So anyway, all right, I wanna get into reading another one of these out here. The weather is absolutely beautiful. You guys, I was like, for 2 days, it was like 85 and I laid out by the pool. The house that I rented, if you haven't seen on the vlog, is absolutely incredible. I did a vlog showing the whole house. I was like, I walked in, I was like, oh my God, like, oh my God. Like, I didn't think this was what it would look like. You know, I was like so pleasantly surprised, which I love to just be pleasantly surprised in life because it means your expectations aren't too high, you know? And I've just had the greatest weekend. We have had such a great time together this weekend. So, okay, let's pick out they're not meditations, it's just readings from this book. Okay, let's go in here and see. Nurture a plant. I don't want to talk about that right now. What's the very last one? I don't know why that's pulling me, but let's see what the very last one is. Okay, let's read this one. This was actually, this might be 100, number 100. Live this day as if it were your last. It might be. When are you going to die? In 50 years? 20? 10? 5? Today? Last time I checked, no one had told me. I often wonder when listening to the news, did the person who died in the auto accident on his way home from work remember to tell his family how much he loved them? Did he live well? Did he love well? Perhaps the only thing that is certain is that he still had things in his in-basket that weren't yet done. The truth is, none of us has any idea how long we have to live. Sadly, however, we act as if we're going to live forever. We postpone the things that deep down we know we want to do, telling the people we love how much we care, spending time alone, visiting a good friend, taking the beautiful hike, running a marathon, writing a heartfelt letter, going fishing with your daughter, learning to meditate, becoming a better listener, and on and on. We come up with elaborate and sophisticated rationales to justify our actions and end up spending most of our time and energy doing things that aren't all that important. We argue for our limitations, and they become our limitations. I felt it appropriate to end this book by suggesting that you live each day as if it were your last on this earth. I suggest this not as a prescription to be reckless or to abandon your responsibilities, but to remind you of how precious life really is. A friend of mine once said, life is too important to take too seriously. 10 years later, I know he was right. I hope that this book has been and will continue to be helpful to you. Please don't forget the most basic strategy of all. Don't sweat the small stuff. I will end this book by sincerely saying that I wish you well. Treasure yourself. Ah, man, what a tough meditation for me to read. So, I was laying out by the pool yesterday, and, you know, I did this video yesterday where I talked about, well, I did it 5 minutes ago, but you're seeing it, you know, yesterday, where I don't allow myself to just be, like, present and be bored a lot, you know? And I was laying out by the pool, and I was like, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do this, and I was like, you need to just lay out by this pool for an hour and just enjoy this amazing weekend and the beautiful weather and get in the pool. I literally sat in the pool for a half an hour yesterday and like threw like the basketball into the hoop. What do you call it? Shot hoops, okay? This is the kind of stuff you do when you're an only child. And I sat there for like a half an hour and shot hoops. after spending, you know, trying to figure out how to heat the pool, and I finally did, and it was warm anyway yesterday. But there was a moment when I was laying by, I mean, the backyard is absolutely amazing. There's like these 2 chairs, and they kind of like overlook the pool. And I was just laying in there, and I was looking up at the palm trees, and I just was like speaking to God in my head. And I was like, thank you for, you know, I was doing basically an out loud gratitude list. And I was like, thank you so much, you know, for this amazing life that I have. And, you know, the ability to travel. And, you know, I went through everything from my husband to my dogs to my friends to Tanya to Mel that I'm visiting this weekend to, you know, my home to the audiobooks to food to my health to my sobriety to the ability to walk and talk and see and sing and dance. And, I have such an amazing life. I have such an amazing life. And I don't take that for granted. I don't, you know, because I don't know why I'm here, and some people aren't. But, you know, I think about my mom a lot. Like, I think this is like in yesterday talking about like why I struggle so hard with being like driven and driven and driven. Like when my mom died, something happened in me, you know? And I can remember, like, for those of you that know the story, like my mom got sick. She had a really rare disease called Wegener's vasculitis granulomatosis. And not many people get it, and not a lot of people die from it. But by the time that they found out exactly what it was, it had like just gone through her whole system. And she actually died from kidney failure. But she was in the hospital for like 2 months, I think, like in a coma, 6 to 2 months. But she never knew, like, the thing about it, and I had a friend of mine that died from meningitis, and it was very similar to him, you know, like, I've talked about this before in my vlog, but I went to go visit him when his mom called me and said, if you want to come say goodbye. And he was in the same room that my mom had been in the ICU. Which was so surreal, you know? And, it was funny because he was friends. This is the connectedness of the world. I don't know why I'm like going off and talking about all kinds of stuff today in this video, but he was friends. He never knew my mom. Because he and I became friends after my mom died. And he was a sober person. And he was friends with this woman that was like my mom's age. And I had never met her, but she knew my mom from meetings and stuff. And she had told him to tell me, because she knew that he and I were friends, that my mom had saved her life. And I was like, so I always kind of wondered what this story was. Like, I had heard bits and pieces of it from him, but I didn't really know what the story was. So I recently went and gave my lead at a meeting that I don't usually go to. And giving your lead is when you get up and you tell your story. I was asked to tell my story at this meeting. And she came up to me afterwards and she introduced herself to me. I never met her. I was like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. She was like a small kind of connection that I still had, you know, in some way. And she said, did he ever tell you the story about like how your mom saved my life? And I said, no. Okay, so this won't surprise anybody. Like, you know, I like to talk. My mom talked twice as much as I did. And so she said she was like in the mall one day and, excuse me. She was in the mall one day and she had like, something had happened. I can't remember what she said, but she had decided that she was going to go to this bar and drink in this restaurant in the mall. And she was walking there. Like, she had decided, like, she had been sober for several years, and she had decided that she was done. Like, she was going to go out, like, with a bang, and she was going to start at this bar, and she was going to go in there, and she was going to start drinking, and then she was going to go home, and she was going to just be done. And she ran into my mom in the mall. Now, I thought my mother, like, had saved a life, okay? Which, I guess, I don't know. I mean, this woman acted like she felt like she did. So she ran into my mom at the mall, and so they start talking. And as they're walking, and she goes, you know how your mom was, like you couldn't shut her up. She talked so much, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, and before I realized it, she said, and this is so, like, this is such a God moment. I've had so many of these things happen in my life and save my life. She said, before I knew it, I was in the parking lot next to my car. I'd walked past the bar because your mom wouldn't shut up and I just didn't know how to get rid of her. So anyway, it was a little funny side note about my mom, but there were so many things that my mom wanted to do in her life that she never did, that she was too afraid to do, or mostly it was fear. You know, she wanted to, like, I always say community theater because my mom wanted to act in community theater. Hell, she wanted to win an Oscar, you know? You know, she wanted to be like a trial attorney and live in a houseboat in San Francisco Harbor. She wanted to make costumes for a big movie, you know, theater, and not movie theater, but movie production company, and she had all these things that she wanted to live in New York City, you know, and go to Elaine's on Thursday nights, you know, listen to jazz. And there were all these things that she wanted to do, you know, and she never did those things. And so when my mom died, I was like, you're here but for a moment. And it was this resounding fact, like, that came over me. Like, when I'm standing, it was just me and her in the room at the very end because everybody else left. And I had this, like, weird feeling that then came up a couple days later through the movie Charlotte's Web, weirdly enough, about the cycle of life. But I had this moment where I was like, you're born, you live, you die, and what you put in the middle of it is yours. What are you going to put in the middle of it, Peter? What are you doing? What are you doing here? And I mean to tell you, when I drove away that night listening to Bob Dylan's Mr. Tambourine Man in my car, my life profoundly changed, because I was like, you better start doing something with your life. It's time to do something. It's time to accomplish your dreams. It's time to have fun. It's time to do something with your life, you know? And I think about that often. I think about how blessed I am to have this life that I have, and to do the things that I want to do. All of us can do that on a daily basis, you know? You don't have to win an Oscar to download the script from Thelma and Louise and get a good Judy of yours and read it and film yourselves reading it. It'd be hilarious, right? You don't have to be a costume designer to make your own clothes and learn how to, you know, sew from a pattern. You can do community theater. You can read a book. You can write a book. You can start writing poetry. You can start a garden. You can dance in your kitchen. You can do all of these things. Life is very, very short. And I never really thought I'd be 47, you know? And I'm never sad about, like, getting older, like the wrinkles and the gray hair. I don't care about that. I really don't. What I care about the most is, God, I just guess I didn't realize I was this emotional today. What I care about is that I feel like life's going by real quick, you know? And sometimes I just want to hit pause, hit the big pause button in the sky, you know? But you can't. And things happen and things go on. And that's life, you know? So you have to enjoy each moment. You have to appreciate each moment. And live as if each day were your last. And ask yourself, today, what's one thing that I really want to do that I haven't done with my life that I can start today? So ask yourself that question. And if you're completely content with your life, then just keep on doing what you're doing, right? Anyway, I love you guys. And great meditation. It was a great reading. And this book is so fantastic. So anyway, I love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.